Welcome to the Spinal Chat Podcast by the Pennsylvania Chiropractic Association. In the second installment of our Legacy series, PCA President Dr. Andrew Heck sits down with Dr. Patrick Goode, winner of the PCA Legacy Award, one of the founding members of the Chiropractic Fellowship of Pennsylvania, and former president of the PCS, the precursor to the PCA. This interview was recorded at the Northeast Chiro Summit at Seven Springs Resort. A full video of the conversation is available on the PCA website and YouTube channel. Please sit back and enjoy as Dr. Heck and Dr. Goode reflect on Dr. Goode's remarkable 50-year career in chiropractic.
So tell me a little bit about what made you want to become a chiropractor. What's your story?
The traditional story was a sickness in the family, helped by a chiropractor. My brother was 8 years older than I was, and I got a younger brother who's a chiropractor, who's retired now, 10 years younger than I am, so there's three of us. And the older brother spent a year in bed with St. Vitus dance and rheumatic fever. And they told him that, or they told my mother that he would be crippled for the rest of his life and so forth. And my mother went down to the local priest and they said, "We haven't tried everything yet." And so he went to the old Nash family from Erie. And he had him on his feet in a month, and by 2 or 3 months out, we didn't know he was really having a problem.
Wow.
He continued on into senior high school and then on to Carnegie Tech, and it was the top of his class at Carnegie Tech, and he ended up to be a chemical engineer and most of his life, and created about 3 businesses. And unfortunately, twice during his life, the rheumatic fever caught up and damaged his heart valve. So that basically was my mother's belief. I graduated Penn State and went to Palmer for a semester. Uncle Sam said I had too much education. So I went and spent 2 years and 9 months in the service and then back to Palmer.
Yeah.
And then I went all year round because I was married then, young children, and this the typical story of a young starting chiropractor and so forth, but the GI Bill helped.
Yeah.
And at that point, very little debt coming out of school, other than what I got to start a practice. And I've been in the same location for 50 years and enjoyed every minute of it.
Awesome. In our conversation a little bit earlier, you said you had some pretty significant involvement within the varying associations. You'd just like to recap that and provide a little summary.
Probably the first involvement was for the Life Fellowship. That was short term, and then I went to the PCS and became involved in them. I think I was a director, may have been, or at least assistant director. And then the old guard and the new guard started at each other, and then we broke off with about half of the board and created a federation for about 6-8 years, something like that. And then my goal, as I told George Coder, who is still around, that my goal was to be a holding company until we grew up and got back together again.
Yeah.
Yes, we did. And then under the federation. At that point, Dave Novotnick became the president, and then he's the one that cemented it with the now a chiropractic organization. And it grew from there, and the old guard just melted away. And I decided to back away because I was president of the organization for 6 years, and I figured that was enough. And so I just backed away and went back to practice and let it carry on from there, and it has. And it seems to be doing pretty good at this point, thriving. I was glad to bring it to that point. I'd rather be a builder rather than a maintainer.
Sure.
It was much more fun to build than it was to maintain, and I realized that, and then I backed away and then let the current administration take over, and over the years they've done pretty well.
As far as some of the things that you were able to build and keeping the association in a good state, what are those things that you think that we could learn from that history today?
There's a definite change in the application of chiropractic, and I think it's listening to people of different occupations and trying to find young people to replace the retirees. They all say about the same thing. The young generation doesn't want to work that hard. As I mentioned a little while ago, that it was a sin for me that I tell somebody to go to the ER. That it seems that the young chiropractor likes to work maybe 40 hours and maybe 30 and be involved with his own personal life and so forth more than we did or I did. And it was because the involvement was 24/7.
Yeah.
And when somebody called and everybody had your phone number, and then we did house calls and so forth. And then I gave up Saturday. Of course, I always worked 2 evenings. I was there 11 o'clock sometimes. But I'm finding out the young professional that I have working with me likes his 30 to 40 hours, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then, so it's okay. That seems to be the modus operandi of the newer chiropractor. It follows a template. I think the profession has moved into that area. Then I see the tolerance of us, because I'm next to New York State, and New York State is just trying to finish their modus of doing things, because they're very restricted there. I think he was from Stroudsburg, told me about his dad being beat up by some thugs hired by the medical profession of New York, and remembers his dad being roughed up and so forth in his office. So I was following those type of people. That was something to listen to, and as being part of why you're a chiropractor, when they were thrown in jail, harassed, and now we seem to be evolved into, I think the medical profession has gotten into departmentizing more. And the general practitioner now really doesn't know what to do with back pain other than muscle relaxers and pain pills. So they send them down to the chiropractor.
Yeah.
And then plus a lot of us have got some pretty good rapport over the years with certain doctors in the area. And so this worked out pretty well.
It seems like you viewed chiropractic as a part of your identity throughout your life. And then maybe some of the passion that maybe you had when you graduated, you're not seeing that as much in some of the younger generations that are coming up. So what would you say that we could do to help excite the younger people coming into the profession and build that passion where it becomes a part of their identity?
With the attitude of the younger people, because there again, I've heard that they just don't want to work as hard. But there are small amounts of, maybe larger than I know of, young chiropractors that are doing quite well, and there be the future. Some of the seminars I heard today about the attitude, and she was talking about the 7 pillars, and that I could see where she has gone worldwide with her, and I think things like that would help. But we don't seem to get beyond the 10 or 15% for some reason. The drug companies said, one chiropractor I was talking to, if we'd just prescribe medicine in the low grade, we'd be in. But I can see the attitude of these people getting tired of taking pills, and they're looking for alternatives.
Yeah.
So I think we're on the cusp of moving in that direction. If we could find some ways of doing it, or just stay where we're at with a little bit of improvement, then we can go from 15% to 20%.
There you go.
Move to 25. I came to chiropractic in a transitional, I guess, a fast-moving time, considering the speed at which we developed. It seemed to be in a linear curve, and so now our old enemies, a lot of them have died off, but we're finding out the power of the drug companies, and they really have a hold of the brain of the medical doctor, and they're trying to break out of it. It's going to be interesting times when Kennedy got a hold of the health commissioner, and he starts doing some things that were just shocking.
Yeah.
Couldn't believe that vaccines didn't work. We've known that for some time, but it's an interesting time. It really is. And I think the people are after more truth, And the people of my age and a little older, can't be very much older because they won't be around very much longer, but they believed in the medical doctor and what the medical doctor said was true and so forth and so on. And now there's an aspect of doubt or get a second opinion more, I see now,
Yeah.
and which I think is good for the health of people. But I still don't know if people are that much interested in health yet. I don't know. We'll see how far it goes. It's been a real ride, and now I'm being forced to limit what I do. But still, with some of the things I've learned this weekend, I want to go home and build some things, and build some protocols for the younger vet generation, for my partner and for some of the people he has. And because I've been gravitated more into a nutritional realm, because medicine they know their food science, but they know nothing about the mitochondrial metabolic part. And that's where the game is. And we're just learning the things there. And I just touch on that because there's people that so much greater education than I have and an application of it that I just marvel at some of the younger practitioners, and not only chiropractic, but nutrition and so forth, how they're evolving. And so I don't know where it's going to go in reality.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be fun. So I think that we're in pretty good shape as far as now. I don't see an increase in awareness and truth out there, which makes us star a little bit more than the average.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a good ride from this point.
Okay.
So that's about what I have to say.
It's a pleasure getting to know you.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
It was an accident and it worked out okay.
Yeah.
Nice to have a little recognition.
Happy to.
Okay. My name is Patrick Goode, and I'm a Pennsylvania chiropractor.
Thank you for joining us for this very special legacy episode of Spinal Chat, a service of the Pennsylvania Chiropractic Association. We are honored to celebrate Dr. Patrick Goode, winner of the PCA Legacy Award, and to recognize his decades of service and leadership in advancing chiropractic in Pennsylvania. If you'd like to watch the full video of this conversation, visit the PCA website or our YouTube channel. If you know a doctor who has helped shape chiropractic in Pennsylvania and whose story we should share in this series, please contact the PCA. We'd love to hear from you. And as always, please consider supporting PCA's mission by becoming a member, engaging with your local elected officials, and supporting the PCA PAC. Together, we are building on the legacy of leaders like Dr. Goode and shaping the future of chiropractic in Pennsylvania. Until next time, thank you for listening and be well.